Yeah, thank you, Jorge, for having me and inviting me to this post-institutional cafe. And as he already said, I'm focusing my work totally on playful interactions and using play in order to solve complex problems. And today I would like to share some insights with you, or at least a few perspectives that may open up some thinking. So let me check quickly. So you now probably see my presentation, and
Yes.
yeah, I would like to provide some perspectives or perspectives, as I call them, on life, learning, and on a complex world. Because I'm, as a person, see myself as a catalyst for playful interactions, or play at work and play
Community.
in the community and in different organizations. So let's get started. In order to make the whole presentation and my talk a little bit more playful, I included a small little game as well, which I do from time to time to spice up the presentations a little bit or drive up the engagement. So you will find within the slides 8 Lego ducks like this one, but the one you see here doesn't count. And whoever finds a duck, either usually you should make a quack sound and show us where it is. But as we're here in a distributed digital remote format, I just invite you to add the term quack into the chat on whatever platform you are and share it with us. And we'll see by the end who found the most ducks out of the 8 by the end of this presentation. There's nothing to win though. It's just for the sole purpose of engagement and entertainment or edutainment. So how shall we start? Well, basically, I would like to start with at least my perspective on the world, that we live in at least 2 different worlds. We have on the one hand the ordinary world, or as I call it, the orderly world, which is basically reflected also with the institutions we build around and with fixed rules, with how things are going, how we learn, how we develop ourselves, and how life should be, basically. And then there's the second word, the extraordinary, or also the word of magic, of wonder, of fantasy, the word we are born in when we are children. There are no rules. It's an open space for our creativity and our imagination, where we can become like everything we want to be. And I personally think that this distinction between the 2 words are quite substantial when we think about how we want to move into a post-institutional education system, or possibly also how we want to move in how to live our life and to cope with the challenge that we are having today. So keep in mind that, at least in my perspective, we live in at least 2 different worlds. Basically, it's more than 8 billion words, because everyone carries around their own inner world and reality as well. And that's for it. So imagine when we were born into this world, and I've become a father of a now 3.5-year-old little daughter. Pia is her name. And I'm really proud about being her father and helping her to through this complexity of our work, or let her basically guide me through the complexities and intricacies of this world. Because when we think about it, when children are born, they are born into a world that's not really made for them at first glance. Everything is just too big, too loud, too noisy, too much everything. They need our help in the beginning to survive the first couple of months or couple of years. But still, this word is made for us adults, because we created the word for us, except, for example, the child room, if we created some of them in our house. So the whole word is big, it's complex, it's loud. And it could be overwhelming, basically, to enter this kind of world, to enter these complexities that are working together. And we could refrain and say, well, no, I don't want to participate in that because I don't understand it in the first place. How shall I? Nobody told me how this works. But instead, children do one thing. They engage with the world. They jump into the mud, they explore, They play around with things, they throw things from the table, and over time they develop, for example, a notion of, well, there's probably something like gravity. If I push something down the, if I put something down the, throw something down off the table, it falls down and not upwards. And through these kind of engagements and interactions, they learn how the world works, at least in their mind. And by that, they learn how to walk, how to talk, how to interact, how to cope with their emotional status, and all these kind of things. And no adult has ever needed to explain or teach a child on how to play and how to engage with the world around it. So probably this engagement, this doing, is a strategy that is innate to us humans to explore this kind of complexities or the environment that's surrounding us. And in that regards, I came to the belief, to the core belief, this play as an activity and as a mindset has always been our humanity's way to engage with complexity, to engage with change, create collaborative meaning out of that. So what could that be? And basically use this meaning to shape the world in the sense that we want to shape it. And throughout play as an innate driver and innate instinct, we developed ourselves over the past hundreds, thousands of years to what we are today, or what our societies are today, in a sense, by starting with this playful activity in the first place. So I strongly believe that this play instinct is our best strategy to cope with what the world offers to us, either in chances and opportunities, but also in challenges. Most of them probably are self-made as well. And over the past, how long is it? 60, 70 years, play has been started to be researched a lot more from scientists. And there's one I want to point out. It's Dr. Stuart Brown, who said, well, play is our most natural way to acquire and develop new skills, abilities, and knowledge. And by that, it helps our brain to cope with the unexpected, to find new solutions, and basically to survive. Because why should we play in the first place if it wouldn't be beneficial to us as a species or as an individual? It's risky. We can break something if we climb up the trees. It's wasting energy. So we are burning calories by doing play activities. And it's not sure, for granted, well, nowadays probably, but in the past it was not sure that we get something to eat or fresh on our table every day. And so it incorporates a lot of risks as a human species, or any species by itself, to engage in play activity. And there must be a return on investment basically out of that. And what he found out from a lot of research, also in different mammals, is that those individuals who play more have a bigger ability or likability to survive. Because if I explore my environment, if I walk around in the wood where I live, climb up trees, go into a cave and so on in a playful manner, I am prepared if for some reason a land shark comes across the border and tries to eat me. I have strategies already up in my head on how to escape this big land shark and not get eaten by him or by it, basically. So the more we explore our world, the more we know about our world, what can be done and could be done, the better we are prepared if something unexpected arrives. And so as children, we naturally are driven by our curiosity and we explore our surroundings. So we go around, we search all different real and unreal things and imaginary things to get a better understanding, or just to pass our time, basically. And through that exploration, we learn about our own identity, about who we are, who we might be, which roles we might have or become, or something like that. So we form a sense of identity about ourselves in this world, and not about one identity, but an abundance of identities. For example, my small daughter right now, she's a koala bear because she's fully into koalas, and then she reenacts being a koala. And in the next moment, I'm a mama. and I will give birth to a child. And she has her little plush toys falling out of her belly, and says, well, here's a new baby, and something like that. So she's not exploring in a sense of what might I become. She's exploring in the sense I be. It's not about becoming, it's about being. I'm here right now and I'm an astronaut, I'm a lawyer, I'm a physicist, I'm a cat, I'm a dog, I'm whatever I want to be. And so this is, in my opinion, a quite interesting connotation in order to understand on which kind of possibilities we have and which paths we may choose in the future. What we also explore is our environment. What's happening around us? How are the things, the objects, nature, the society around us doing, and how do they work? How can we make sense out of that? And basically also explore our interactions within the world itself. And by learning about what we can do and how we interact and what happens with our interactions, we also learn about our own capabilities. So we get an understanding of what we really can do and could do in the future, because basically in this magical, extraordinary world, we can become everything and can live up to that sense with new solutions and also with new things and new interactions that we can explore in that sense. And so play is a most basic strategy, I would say, to learn about the new capabilities we have offered from this world and from ourselves to this world. But also we have the possibility to explore new situations, new utopias, new imaginable and unimaginable things, and by that create a full mind, full body experience, because we are not thinking about it, we are doing it, enacting it at the moment. And this creates us a much richer experience and form of data in order to base our decisions upon. And by that, we follow a ton of different aspects. When I started out thinking about, okay, how can we bring play into the world? Or is play, is this not just some small thing, this childish activity, and why should organizations, teams, institutions care for bringing play back to their work or to their everyday life? And then I, for myself, started to dissect the term play and how I understand it. And some of you will agree, some of you might not agree. I came, for me, to the conclusion that play always starts with this urge, this curiosity about what is this, what's happening here. I want to know, this longing for the new, for new learning, for new experiences. It always incorporates imagination about what can be done, something we need nowadays as individuals, but also as a society to cope with the challenges the world is handing us on a daily basis. It has a lot to do with empathy. If I step into a new role, if I step to become now a horse, for example, for my daughter to ride on, how does it feel to be a horse? How does it feel to play a certain role? And this enables myself to understand my feelings better, but also the feelings of others as well, because I, at least for a short period of time, I was able to get into this kind of experience and have some sort of data or information to refer to when I'm really confronted with another person who is in this situation right now. Through play, we usually build in a narrative, a story that's unfolding either in a planned manner, if we commit each other to say, well, we are playing now a certain situation like family or whatever, or usually a story unfolds quite naturally. And the important point here is, in my opinion, also that as stories are our main way in order to share knowledge, share wisdom, and share information with each other, this is a strong component within play as well. And by that fuels two native instincts we all carry around within us. One is the play instinct and the other is the narrative instinct in order to make sense of this world. Seldomly we play alone, only by us, but usually with others together. So it has a strong sense of collaboration and also a co-liberation in itself, because by playing together, we invite each other as well to open up, to become more of themselves than they would in the first place. It is at the forefront of creativity. What if I can imagine something new? How can I make it happen? What can I do? What could we do? How can we combine two objects to each other to create a new toy or a new instrument to solve a big problem? It's a lot of make do, basically. So experimentation is a big part of play as well, to try things out, fail and learn, and fail and learn, and iterate towards the experiment finally to work. Which is a big and huge topic in any situation or organization nowadays. Through play, we grow, because every experience I have, I can't unexperience it. So by experiencing something, by experiencing my possibilities, I learn on a cognitive basis, but also on a subconscious basis, because I've done it. And whatever I've done, I have somehow saved within my body. Which brings me also to the topic of mindfulness, which is probably not directly related to play, but if I see mindfulness about being present, being in the here and now, in the moment, at least that's my definition, then play itself is totally mindful. Because I can't play yesterday, I can't play tomorrow, I can only play here and now. And we all know probably these kind of situations where you're in a playful state, and then something from outside this magic playful circle happens, and you're away from it. So you're killing the mindfulness or the awareness and the presence you are at the moment when you're fully engaged with an activity you're doing and performing by yourself. Be it a play activity or work activity, doesn't matter. And in the end, play is also some sort of holistic, in a sense that we incorporate our full body, our full knowledge, and also all our senses, and by that get a much better holistic understanding of what a certain situation is doing to us, is making with us. And from that point out, we have a relevant set of experience and data to base better decisions upon and get a better feeling on how things interact with each other. But then at some point, we are starting in our kindergarten or in our playroom, exploring, going wild, going crazy. And then institutions start to happen. We go to school, we learn how to learn. So from I explore, I engage and learn by myself, and move towards a system where it's more or less telling me how to learn, how to engage, and what I need to do in order to not be an astronaut, but to become an astronaut. It's less about being, it's more about becoming. We enter a journey that's never gonna stop, because we will never basically arrive at that point where we say, well, now I'm there, because then the next path, the next journey is opening up. And so we shift our mind and our thinking from the here and now more towards the future. And I personally assume that this also creates a disconnect between ourselves and our world itself. I will come to that in a moment. And after school, we have the decision of either going to learn a craft or something, going to university or whatever. But quite often we see adults as saying, well, I need to learn, I don't want to learn, keep me away from the learning experience itself. So something happened along this way. Something happened from being a playful child to becoming an adult, where we lose the sense of joy and fun from exploring the world and from learning something new. Because learning has become work in a sense. We have to need to pass tests, to get exams and all this kind of stuff. And this feels more stressful probably and more anxious in itself. So the question is, what happened in that way? When we were in the beginning in this magical world where we could explore everything with our own and with others as well. And then at some point we, also society and institutions probably persuade us that the orderly world, that the school world is the thing we should strive for. And so we are at some point happy to go to school and leave our safe space in the kindergarten or in the family and move to the orderly world, where everything is structured, awarded with points, with exams, with certifications and this kind of stuff. And then at some point it feels like, not so fun anymore, basically. And if I look at both of those words from a play theory, they can be related with two perspectives as well. So the orderly word is a word of games. A game based on how's it called right now? I will bring it up afterwards. It's about the book, the Finite and the Infinite Game. James Cars, a play philosopher from the 60s, 70s, around that. He describes games as a set of system that's focused on victory, has selected people taking part into it, fixed rules and the fixed end, and the basic goal for a game is to end the game. So it's an infinite game. It's ending the game, ending school, because then I get a title, then I get a certain job or whatever. It's about playing this game as long and as easy and frictionless as possible with the least amount of effort to get to the end, because then I get a title that's not relevant within the game but outside of the game itself. Whereas on the contrary, where if we are in this magically extraordinary world, we are in the world of the infinite game. It's about play. So the only game of play is to continue the play activity in itself. There's no real reward then except growing ourselves out of that and learning something. You don't only have known players, but everyone can participate in that. And we change the rules in a sense of if they enable us to continue the play, it's easier to change the rules to do that. And this is in my perspective the realm of this extraordinary, this magical world children live in, and we are started our life in. And then we moved away to not play openly, play freely, but to play a game that's dictated by ourselves or by institutions that has been happened by it. And both of those types of play, on how you can look at it, are basically systems. Systems either with a fixed set of rules or with continuous development rules. And in the game area, it's systems of politics. We do our policy making based on a game theory and not on a play theory or play aspect in that sense. Our economics are played like they are a game, but nobody in the economic has really agreed on the rules of how the economic is working. And so we are adhering to rules and how to run our businesses and our organizations because we think that's the way to be. But in the end, it's nobody. In the end, we are actually playing a game of play, of infinite play, to move on, to change the rules in order to see us fit, so to engage with the world and do our things we're up to do. And I'd say also that the educational system is also part of the game system with its strict rules and its norms and how people need to be structured and all these kind of things. In contrary to the play systems that are about growth, they are about inclusion, playing with everyone together because we are on one planet. We are also in one unified big game that keeps going on, even if we as human beings aren't here anymore. The world or the play of this earth will go on, will continue. And it's also a system of change. Play enables us to explore different perspectives, different possibilities, and by that also different change as well. And so the more I think in these terms of distinction between play and game and how it is to be a child, how it is to be an adult, I'm asking myself about what is real, if there is something we could think of reality. Because most often the perspective I grew up with from my parents is that what's real is the orderly institutional world. Because that's the rules, that's how it goes. And the children world, this is this extraordinary, this imaginal and magical place. But I come to believe that in this institutional world, we create sense making mostly, this is generalization by itself, mostly by thinking about the word. We think about something, how it should be, and based on that, we create our decisions. Based on that, we build what's happened in our word itself, because decision making and experiencing are decoupled from each other in a sense. And on the play side, we make sense of the word through experiencing the word. So using our full mind, our full body from what we can experience right now, also with its limitations. But based on that, we create our sense, we create our meaning and perspective about how things are working out. And so I'm not sure anymore on what's more real. Is it just the thinking about it, or is it the experiencing of the word that's more grounded in reality, even if this immersive play is just imaginary in a sense? But still, from my brain, it feels more real than just thinking about something. And why should we care? I'm quickly trying to land this thing. I'm talking more than I thought of. Why should we care? Because our world is changing. We are faced with economic volatility. We are faced with technical innovations, with socio-cultural shifts, environmental crisis, political instability all around us, and legal regulations all around us. And we can't discern this complexity, this ever increasing the complexity of the world anymore, in a sense of just by thinking, we will not understand how they work with each other. And in that sense, it makes just sense to play more to get a better understanding. As Dr. Karen Purvis, a researcher from Texas University, stated, and I don't have found the research paper on it yet, but it feels somehow real based on my own experience at least, and probably you can say something towards that as well, that it takes about 400 repetitions to create new connections in our brain, to learn something new. Unless it happens in play, then it takes 10 to 20 repetitions, which is like, if we move out of this space of the play for engagement and experience into this more headily space of the orderly world where everything is in rules, we increase the learning burden 20-fold, which is just crazy in a sense, and which it felt harder to learn my profession itself than it felt to learn how to walk and talk and interact and operate different objects and things in our house when I was a small child. And in 6 years, and then the study takes about 10 to 20 years to arrive where you are. And probably it has something to do with it that we changed on how we learned and how we experienced the stuff we are supposed to learn. So what I think is that we should, if we want to understand an ever-increasing complex world, we shouldn't think about it, but we should play with it. We should engage with it, experience it, and go into the mud, jump into that. I'm jumping over that one. And in doing so, whatever we should do with the confidence of a 4-year-old child wearing a Batman costume. And in that regards, I would like to leave you here with one question. What would have happened, or what if we never left this magical and playful space we were born into as a child in the first place, and kept staying there, even though our institutional organizations are there anyways? Thank you.